I'd like the woman to speak, please. At least 25% more than you. So can you just shut up for a second there, you white piece of shit?
Welcome back to Unsafe Space, everyone. We are now here. It's still Carter and Keri, and we're now here with Mark SJW Hughes. Mark SJW Hughes is an activist and prominent thought detective with the Comedy Police. Mark uses zhem pronouns. This bio about Mark was written on unceded trans-Muslim territory, which is important to mention. Also, if you want to follow Mark, their Twitter handle is Trump_H8TR. That's Trump hater. And there's also Mark also has Facebook group, Mark SJW Hughes. Mark, thank you for joining us.
Salam alaikum.
I'm sorry.
I'd like the woman to speak, please. At least 25% more than you. So can you just shut up for a second there, you white piece of shit?
You're assuming my gender, I think, aren't you?
I can tell from a mile away, and don't try and use my language to overpower me. Is your name Keri?
Hi, Mark. Yes, my name is Keri.
Your name's Keri?
I love your hair. It's delightful.
Oh, thank you. I noticed that your skin is white. I'm not going to hold that against you. How do you identify? Just before, I don't want to commit a microaggression.
Well, I don't identify. I'm a woman. I don't have a, as Megan Murphy says, I don't have a gender identity. I have a personality.
Oh, okay. And so far it's like shit, but what do I, if I want to refer to you as something, what, them, they,
I don't play this pronoun game. You decide.
Whoa. Well, I mean, I shouldn't expect much from a white woman. I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt, though. You don't play the pronoun game. Oh, you think so? It's just a game to you, like checkers?
No, it's not. It's not a game to me. I think it's a game to you.
To me, well, I mean, it's not a game. This is like, do you know how many trans people are murdered on in video stores every year?
How many?
I don't know, but I think it's a lot. And it's your ignorance is rape. That's rape right now.
Can you show us your shirt? Can you show us your shirt? What shirt are you wearing there?
It's my men are rape shirt, because they are. Just that's you.
But you don't identify as male. So I would be raped,
well,
but you would not be raped.
It sort of depends on the day or the mood. Depends on if I took my hormone blockers that morning or not. Depends on if the person I'm going to be sleeping with, like if it's a buff POC man, then I'll be whatever they want me to be. But for all intents and purposes, unless I'm in a space where it's important that I be silent to allow the female or other voices to be amplified, I don't identify as a male. But I do like.
Are you speaking from unceded trans-Muslim territory now?
Right now, I don't know the exact nation that I'm speaking on top of, but I do you did the territorial acknowledgement to start with, so you might be 5% less of a piece of shit. But I think it might be Navajo where I'm at right now, or it could be Swahili. One of the two.
They're all the same anyway, right? It doesn't matter.
Can I?
Yeah.
I'm curious. How long have you?
I'm glad you spoke over him for once.
Thank you.
There is maybe hope for you, even though you don't play this game. I'm sure concentration camps are just a game to you too, right? Yeah.
I'm curious. When did you become the person that you are today?
I'm glad you called me a person. I became a person that I am today. Well, I've been like this forever, but I came out. I decided to leave my parents' basement more often. Last year, this piece of shit, fucking super scumbag piece of shit comedian named Mark fucking Hughes, was doing a show in Vancouver called The Comedy Shocker, which is this like comedy show that's like dark and offensive or whatever and just totally problematic and toxic. So I decided, you know what, someone needs to do something about this because it was kind of it was kind of going under the radar. So he may be the comedy, he may produce the comedy shocker. I'm the comedy blocker.
What did he say that was specifically offensive to you that you thought was the worst?
He's made jokes about trans people, black people, women, non-white women, sometimes white women, depending on their political stance. Like he said that like he's made fun of like women not having abortions. Like, excuse me, I don't even consider you a woman unless you've had at least 3 abortions. He's made fun of immigrants. He's made fun of Islam. He's made fun, like, I don't, and people say,
why does it bother you though, what he makes fun of?
The fact that you even asked to ask that doesn't warrant a response.
So, Mark, you landed an interview with.
That. Sorry.
No, that's what I wanted to ask about.
I don't know why
Yaniv.
I don't know why you're laughing at this, Keri. It's. Are you sure you're not taking hormone blockers? You're actually more of a man, because that's the kind of feeling I'm getting from you. How many abortions have you had?
We're not getting into my personal life. We're not making this about me. I want to know about you. We're here to interview you. How many of you?
You are kind of cute. I am glad that you want to get to know me. I could maybe go out and for drinks with you to maybe help re-educate you, then go back to my place. I got Molly. I got a really good source on Molly. And first let's check in with your boyfriend to see if it's okay if you go out with me. I'd want to make sure.
You mean we're not together.
Not you, scumbag. I'm just assuming she has a boyfriend. And you're poly, right?
Oh, I see.
Obviously.
No.
Obviously.
Well, so I used to believe what you believe, Mr. Mark SJW Byers. Is that by wait, Mark SJW Hughes? Is that your given name, or did you add the SJW, or?
Well, we're in a culture war right now, and I'm a social justice warrior. And some people use that as a pejorative, but I believe it's a dignified title. So I adopted it because it's like just like that word that black people have taken back to reappropriate and give it power. I'm taking it back. Nigger. I'm allowed to say that because my girlfriend's boyfriend is black. I am going to give it power, and I'm going to show what a social justice warrior can really do. Now, so I don't use guns, but I use a keyboard. Because some people shoot, I dox. Yeah.
Speaking of a keyboard, you interviewed Jessica Yaniv, which was a big deal. Not a lot of people got to interview Jessica Yaniv recently.
Man, my fucking outie vagina still gets hard when I think about that interview. Oh, queen.
Ew.
You asked Jessica on a date. It seems like you guys hit it off.
She's busy. She's busy. I'm probably not her type, so I will just be like the little brother she never had. I'll listen to all her boyfriend woes. I'll help her move. Maybe one day she'll need a shoulder to cry on, and then I'll suggest that, an orgy might be the way to get over it. And maybe I'll be picked in the orgy. That's what I'm hoping. So.
Yeah, well, that's the strategy, I think, generally for social justice guys. What did you learn about Jessica that you didn't know?
You know the game. You know the game too. Cool. Yeah, you look like you have a high soy diet, so that's okay. I like that. Yeah. What did you say? Can the question you were going to ask? Can the woman ask it?
I have no problem with the woman asking it. If she will you ask it, Keri?
Can we get your permission, female, to ask that question?
What do you want to ask him, Carter?
Okay, what I want the male to do
ask Zim.
Zim, I want him to transmit it psychically to you. That way he's in no way speaking over you. And I want him to reduce the volume on his mic by 25%. It's always 25% because it's symbolic of the wage gap, right? But I think that because your political beliefs, Keri, are not, I think, are somewhat problematic, but I think there is hope for you. I think you should have to donate that 25% to, like, is there a POC anywhere nearby who can actually do interview me? I don't know what the fuck is. No one told me it'd be white people.
I can get my wife.
You have a wife? Did she consent to it?
Yes, who's not white. Would that work for you?
Oh, not white. What race is she?
Does it matter?
Absolutely. There's a hierarchy. Like,
can you actually explain the hierarchy? Maybe that would be helpful to all of us.
I have a question. I'm going to speak over the man. So
yes, Queen. Yes, Queen.
Thank you. So going back to Jessica Yaniv for a minute, if you have a trans woman who
she's a lot of woman too. Did you see? Oh man,
I did.
Yeah, let's. You know what's okay? She wants waxing. I definitely volunteer to wax for her. I didn't say this because I didn't want to oppress her during the. Let's just say they call my mouth wax. So okay.
I don't know how to follow that. Really, I was going to ask you.
Go ahead. I'll give you permission to ask the question. Go ahead.
So, if a trans woman visits a Muslim woman or let's say even an immigrant Muslim woman of color who has religious reasons for not wanting to wax the trans woman's genitalia, who comes out on top in that?
I've heard this referred to. Mark Hughes, fucking piece of shit. He once referred to this as the battle of the oppressed titans. And what I have to say though is that we're in Canada now, not the U.S., which is fucking stupid country because you're led by Trump. Ew, gross. Haha. I can't. You bigots get what you deserve. We're in Canada now, and we're a multicultural country. Diversity is our strength. So if they don't want to go along with our practices here, which are obviously much more progressive than their countries that they come from, it's complicated because the countries that they come from are terrible and we need to rescue them. But they have barbaric practices, which I need to support at the same. It's a tough one. It's a bit of math, which I'm not very good at because math is racist. But they're on unceded something territory. No matter what territory they're on, it's unceded and they're on it. They have to respect the customs that we have here. So if they don't go along with it, it doesn't matter what color they are. It transmogrifies them into Nazis.
Thank you. I really appreciate you articulating.
I am going to require a donation after this for the emotional labor. I'm in so much emotional. Feeling like I'm in so much emotional labor right now. I'm about to have a kid. Holy shit. But I'm going to have an abortion. Get rid of that fucking piece of shit because kids are gross and a symbol of the patriarchy.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that you're on land. This person would be on land that was ceded.
Yeah.
And therefore,
unceded,
they would be... unceded land, yes. But wouldn't then the culture of the whoever originally had the land, wouldn't that be the controlling culture? And probably they wouldn't.
You're absolutely right, scumbag. But you're actually not bad for a cis white male. I think they're.
You're making a lot of assumptions about me, but go ahead.
Yeah, you don't know how the rules work. When it comes to your kind, I'm allowed to make assumptions about you.
I see.
Yeah.
So there are rules like in a game.
Oh yeah, but they change just depending on how I feel. So you could make, because of your open-mindedness, or at least your ability to critically think, which is normally hate, but you're able to kind of adopt and work with alternate ideas. I think you could make a good breeding specimen for when the feminist Muslim trans population takes over and uses Marxist ideology, and because we're still going to need some biological men to reproduce. You could be one of them. So,
well, isn't that kind of hateful? Because I've heard that that's not necessary for biological men to reproduce. I mean, that's what science is for.
Well, one day we're going to figure out a way to produce trans people in a test tube, but we're not quite there yet. So, what was the question?
Well,
I was just asking if the underlying culture controlled, and therefore...
Right. Okay, the problem is that we have to speak on behalf of them because, they're oppressed right now and usually drunken in the casino. So we have to do... we as someone who has more privilege, I have to use that privilege as their power. I'm their tomahawk. If you follow.
I see.
Yeah.
So they don't have to do the emotional labor.
No. As a white person, unfortunately, until the chemicals start taking effect, I have to do the labor for them. Besides, they're not usually good at labor anyway, so I don't mind doing it.
So
Are you transracial?
They elected you to speak on behalf of them?
No, but I know what's good for them because sometimes they're busy. They're busy, and they might not know big words, and I do. Yeah.
I see. Are you smarter, you think?
I wouldn't say smarter, but more developed and sophisticated than they are.
I see. So they're like savages, kind of.
Pretty much, and that's why I think that I have to help civilize them. And they're coming along. I'm seeing it working. Yeah.
So because white people have so much power, it's our job to speak on behalf of people of color because they don't have the power to speak for themselves. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. Correct.
Sorry.
Smartest thing you've said all interview.
I have to say, I completely disagree with your ideology. I used to agree with it, but I do appreciate your sincerity.
You disagree with me. So, whenever I hear words like that, I assume it's pretty, I can feel it because it's like, as a thought detective, I'm pretty well able to read tone. That's like a sexual assault to me. And I have your name now, and I'm gonna create see, there's my phone. I have the hashtag MET and 1 O already written. Do it again. I'm gonna hit another O, and I'm gonna hit send, and you're done, you bitch. Okay, that's it. You're done. Your job is gonna be mine. I don't want your job because that's fucking pain in the ass.
Isn't bitch a sexist term?
Not against Nazis like you. So listen. If Portland has taught us anything, sometimes we have to use hate to fight hate. Okay. Even though Antifa.
So you're using hate to fight hate.
Antifa's kind of weak in my I like what they do. They have the right spirit, but they're kind of they could be a bit harsher. They're a bit soft for me. Yeah.
So what are some things that you do that are better than what an Antifa does? How do you battle?
I go into places of work. I apply for jobs. Sometimes I get the job, then I disrupt the place of work. And some people go, but Mark, that's just like a small family business, and they're just making pastries. And I'm like, yeah, but pastries are fucking. What does pastry almost rhyme with? Patriarchy. So that's how you fucking take care of that, right? And I'll go into welfare offices, and I'll get welfare checks for every one of my gender identities, because you got to fund the movement somehow, right? I let air out of tires of seniors who, because if they're over 70, they were probably National Socialists. Children, I go to daycares, and I tell the boys that they're weaponized rapists. They just don't know it yet. I go to Planned Parenthood, and sometimes I make the doctor perform the abortion on me.
Wait, you've had an abortion?
Yeah, they were all like, yeah, but you don't have the right body parts. And I said, well, that's hate right there. Get your fucking vacuum. And they said, well, it's not going to fit. And I said, well, for the sake of the cause, I'll take one for the team. And that was no babies. Thank Allah.
Wait, so I'm not, what exactly happened during this medical procedure?
That's a very private question, and I don't think I should have to describe it, but let's just say it worked.
Z had an abortion.
Yeah.
I see.
Yes.
I see. No. So getting back to Jessica for just a moment, you believe that you believe that Jessica should have her balls waxed by this woman.
Yes. I prefer to call them circular, spherical labias.
I see. And so you think her spherical labias should be waxed by this Sikh woman.
Absolutely.
There's also
the Sikh woman should be fucking honored to do it.
Right. There was also some concern, though, that Jessica was engaged in some sort of pedophilic activity with 12-year-olds, and she was talking about some inappropriate things with 12-year-olds and taking selfies.
She says that wasn't her, and normally when it comes,
you have to believe all women. So,
you get it. Wow, I like you better than her now. So normally, when it comes to sexual abuse or sexual assault accusations, the victim's always right, no matter what, even if you can prove that they're wrong. But in this particular case, I think the victim is lying because, again, the math, the hierarchy, the formula, it just doesn't add up. Like the
victim was cisgendered, I think.
Exactly. So let's just put it this way: if that victim felt like Jessica was assaulting or attempting to assault them, it's not actually assault, it's transphobia, because they should have been glad to have sex with Jessica. Secondly, even if they're
underage, though, I just want to clarify.
Age is fluid. They've got to learn it somewhere. Jessica may be a mentor, and let's face it, I know they're not an accepted part of the rainbow, the LGBT rainbow, but headways being made. We got to keep in mind that the trans ageists, the so-called pedophiles, they're going to be part of the LGBT community, maybe. So we got to keep, maybe not. It's hard to say. I don't. The academics are still debating about this, but they might be on Pride Parade. They might have their own float at the Pride Parade. And once they're there, we got to be okay with it.
So you're waiting further instruction from how the academics,
the thought leaders, yeah.
So you work for the thought police.
I work for the thought police, but I'm still, I do have some latitude with the decisions I can make. I do have some, what's the term? Powers of arrest and doxing and stuff like that. But the thought leaders who work at like places like Vice, HuffPost, Berkeley, you got to see what they say, because they're yeah.
What is the training like for the thought police? Because what is the academy like?
Self-taught mostly. It's a lot of like drum circles, orgies, it's ayahuasca ceremonies, stuff like that. Yeah. No.
So it's a grueling boot camp, kind of. Is it?
It's never that hard. Come on, look at these hands. These aren't made for hard work.
So what's your ideal society? What are you pushing for?
Reduce the population to 10% male, like actual male. Probably increase the racial saturation to 80% non-white. Convert all of them unless science has a way to produce trans people organically. Convert the remaining population into trans, convert them to Islam, and then there has to be a certain amount of abortions going on at all times, because as much as I don't like kids, there needs to be let's play, like, marginalized groups are children at one point, so someone has to reproduce them. But I it's hard to figure out. Again, I just take my orders sometimes, but this is what I think. Yeah.
Why have any white people? I don't understand reducing it to 20%. Why not to 0? What's the?
Because there are some marginalized white people, as hard as that is to admit. I don't
understand that at all.
Yeah, I don't know. So we'll just have to make sure they're born homeless and mentally ill and like disabled, and then just like, because you need to keep the disabled ones for like the ones with Down syndrome and stuff, because they're a bit of a marginalized group, and you just perpetuate that gene pool, right? Just keep that bloodline going. Yeah.
Now, you said Islam was part of your solution, right? I don't understand how does Islam mesh with social justice?
Well, it's the religion of peace, and they look what they do. They don't like capitalism, so they rent a 747. Don't they throw
gay people off of buildings?
They also in order to get rid of capitalism, they rent 747s. If you know what I mean. So.
I see.
They're willing to take you. See,
I see.
Antifa, you could learn a thing or two. Just saying. Do they throw gay people off buildings? Well, you know, we used to call gay people fairies. Maybe they're flying lessons, right?
I see. So you think the Muslim community?
You're obviously not a postmodernist because you don't. Your truth isn't fluid either. So it's hard. I can't really. I don't really have the emotional labor to keep on educating you. I'm gonna need an honorarium after this. I'm gonna need an honorarium after this for sure. And I certainly feel like I'm losing brain cells during this conversation. Good, because we need you. We need you less functional.
Yeah. No. Clearly. Keri, you were gonna say something.
Oh, I'm done.
You're done?
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I think I'm done here too. It's been. I'd like to say it was pleasant, but I feel really tired now, and I've only been up for 15 minutes, but I think I'm going to go back to bed. So, salam alaikum. Hopefully, I can find out where each of you guys live. I'm going to dox you, and what you'd both just be doing the world a favor if you killed yourselves. So, thank you very much.
Well, I think you're a great example of what the world could become under social justice rule. So, I still appreciate you being on here as a warning.
Thank you.